In this video, we investigate the source of the demand for black market RuneScape gold. This demand fuels almost all of the botting, hacking, and scamming in RuneScape. On September 16th, 2025, Jagex made a post called "A Message About Real-World Trading," which had some great points in it. Basically, they say the source of all of RuneScape's nefarious activity comes from players willing to buy gold from other players for real money. Specifically, buying gold incentivizes bots, and Jagex admits to historically not really going after gold buyers, but now they are saying for even first-time offenders they will issue bans or actually wipe the accounts clean. If I had to be brutally honest, my guess is they barely ban anyone, and the announcement is just that. It's an announcement without any action. So, let's measure if their plan worked. One way of doing that would be to see the effect on GP prices. For context, gold was trading at 14 cents per mil in August, and Jagex wasn't really banning any bots at all. OSR's player counts were at an average of 192,000 players in the last week of August. That means at any given time, the average was 192,000. Then, in the first week of September, Jagex nuked as many bots as they could, and they've kept their foot on the gas since. So after 1 month, the average players online is now 132,000, 31% lower and still falling. Probably safe to say that most of that decrease is from easy to detect bots that Jagex is banning. After all the bots were banned, gold prices shot up to 18 cents per mil within 2 weeks due to lack of supply in the market. Right at that 2-week point, Jagex announced this new effort to ban gold buyers as well as sellers. And now 2 weeks later, gold prices have fallen to 14 cents per mil again. So that is to say, how effective is this policy, this announcement? If we attribute the drop in gold price from 18 to 14 cents, it has so far had a decent sized effect on player demand for real world trading. But I wanted to dig deeper. And so I think we should analyze who actually buys gold. Off the top of your head, you might think, well, some percentage of the player base does. But what percent? So I polled my community. I asked, have you ever purchased RuneScape gold against the game rules? And I clarified that buying bonds through Jagex doesn't count. 40% said yes and 60% said no. We got 13,000 responses. Very statistically significant, but also note that my audience might skew a little higher probability in terms of having purchased gold, given I report on mainly cheating activity and my audience has been playing RuneScape for longer than probably the average player. And one reason people purchased gold kept coming up in the comments: the dual arena. But of course, that poll is just for context and a baseline. Next, I tried to ask the real question: how many people who played RuneScape in the past 12 months have also purchased OSR's GP against game rules? Basically, how many of the active player base is actively real-world trading? But first, the team at Extter sent me some pretty awesome products. We have the Wallet Pro, which is sustainable leather, and also a Finder card. Let's start with the Wallet Pro, and this thing is the future of wallets. It's Exter's slimmest leather wallet, but has more capacity. It holds up to 14 cards and has a cash strap. If you want to get your cards out, you just pop them out with the button on the bottom. It's ridiculously easy to put both all of your cards in and pop out the ones you want. This button on the bottom was upgraded to aluminum and doesn't use any plastic. It's like the first class version of their wallet. It also blocks RFID, deterring wireless card theft, and has a lifetime warranty. Now, let's check out the Finder card. As the name suggests, it connects to Apple's Find My app and fits into lots of pockets in this wallet. There's a large pocket on the back perfect for it. One charge lasts 6 months, and it has a ringer you can trigger from your phone if you can't find your wallet but it's nearby. But if it's not nearby, you still have global tracking on it. So, get up to 45% off with my code sirpugger or click the link in the description. Thanks to Extter for sponsoring this video. So what percent of the active player base is actively real-world trading? The results? 12% real-world traded. And again, I think that's skewed up. It's probably a little bit lower than that. So all the botting, hacking, and scamming just to fuel 12% of the player base's gold purchases. Now maybe pause on the comment you might be writing about how terribly worded that poll was. I asked it in a slightly different way and got almost the exact same result, 13%. So considering the bias of my audience, I would estimate 5 to 10% of the active population of players in old school RuneScape also real world trade. So that's all information that I've collected, but I wanted to also ask around. I reached out to a ton of people, and the first one that responded was a botter who real world trades around 8 billion GP per month. A smallish fish, so to speak, but he also knows a lot of contacts in the underground scene. He says, I'm thinking about the impact of Jagex's recent announcement all wrong, that if Jagex did what they said they would, the price of GP would go up right after the announcement because Jagex was banning so many buyers of gold, and so the gold supply would be restricted. And that Jagex's announcement wouldn't scare any buyers away because all of the buyers are just gamblers. If they get banned, they just want to buy more. His point about gamblers is very interesting. He seems to think that most real-world trading activity is just for gambling purposes. There is some historically significant evidence that this could be true, so let's investigate. Let's use the Wayback Machine to look at gold prices before and after the removal of the Duel Arena. On November 8th of 2021, the Duel Arena was given a 10 million GP cap per stake. GP was 65 cents per mil before this, and was 50 cents per mil by the end of the year, a couple months after that update. On July 6th of 2022, 8 months after the 10 mil cap was put into place, the Duel Arena was fully removed. GP went from 50 cents per mil down to 30 cents per mil by the end of the year, and bottomed out at 18 to 25 cents per mil in 2023. Since then, it has fluctuated between 10 to 20 cents per mil. We can't say that all of that change was from the Duel Arena removal, since that was also probably from people getting back to work post-COVID. But a market collapse from 65 cents down to 20 cents in 18 months? I'd argue a lot of that was the Duel Arena. I think we can assume gambling in game causes a huge amount of demand for gold. Here's a quick example of what I mean. One of the many discords where gold transactions happen has a tracker for how much total a user has bought or sold within that mini marketplace. There are lots of people checking their total amounts here in a public chat, and some people have literally purchased tens of thousands of dollars of gold or sold that much. I even found one person who had purchased $52,000 of RuneScape gold. To put that into perspective, at current prices, that person has bought 300 billion GP on old school RuneScape. There's no way they did that to just have the gold, because the absolute most expensive item in the game is a third age pickaxe at around 12 bill. The most dripped out outfit possible is still only worth 20 to 25 bill. If I was a betting man, I'd bet this person is addicted to gambling. And if that's true, let this sink in. A large bot farm fuels one major gambling addict. 100 green dragon bots playing 20 hours a day make 1 billion GP per day, 500k GP per hour. That's 30 billion GP per month. Assuming there are zero costs, zero bans, this bot farm would take 10 months to generate enough gold to satisfy this gold buyer. 100 bots for at least 10 months fuel one gambling addict. If you believe real world trading is powered by players buying gold to buy bonds for membership, at 15 mil per bond, it would take 10,000 players buying membership for a month to match the demand from this one gambling addict. Buying gold to buy bonds for membership just wouldn't generate enough demand for all the bots we're seeing. So we think we found a gambling addict, but is it just a crazy one-off gold buyer? We can find out. I found currently active gambling discords and websites with 1,000 members, 2,000 members, some even had up to 10,000 people in them. Gambling on RuneScape is still very much alive. After the Duel Arena was removed and people were all banned for deathmatching, the saddest possible form of gambling sprung up: flower poker in the clan halls. It's literally bots with flowers in a clan hall. It's like a semi-private casino. And then there are even websites that will just have you gamble through the site, and you can deposit GP within a hall by trading someone, but the games of chance happen on the website. It's all really lame. At least the Duel Arena and deathmatching had some sort of combat involved, maybe even some mild skill. So I was able to get in touch with someone who has been running one of these halls for a long time. He's a pretty credible source on this, and although he runs a hall as a side hustle, he told me at one point that he wishes someone would, quote, burn it all down. He didn't want to divulge too much info to me since he's still running one, but he did tell me a couple stats. His gambling operation had 15 million US dollars worth of gold wagered in the last 12 months. Not profit, but total wagered. At 15 cents per mil to make the math easy, that's 100 trillion GP wagered in 12 months. Roughly 300 billion GP bet per day. The other stat he gave me was that another very well-known gambling operation that operates flower poker and gives away hundreds of bills of GP on live streams is on track to make 1.2 million USD in 2025. And these two are by no means the only gambling operations. This person told me there are around 5 big clan hall gambling operations at any given time, as well as other gambling sites. There's really no way of knowing how much GP is gambled, but it's safe to say at least hundreds of trillions of GP are gambled per year. It seems like maybe even 1 quadrillion gold is gambled per year. I think it's safe to say if Jagex wiped out gambling, we'd have a lot less demand for GP. And then I came across this announcement from that same gambling operation set to make over $1 million this year. Due to Jagex's recent real-world trade announcement, they will no longer accept GP. They're moving to crypto gambling, and they said to their own community, if you gamble with gold, you will definitely be banned. Wait, what? That's crazy. I asked my source who gave me the original numbers, and he said he has heard of a lot of bans from buying gold. He even got hit with them too. Maybe I was being too critical of Jagex. It's too early to tell, but this seems oddly promising. If the clan hall casinos and other gambling operations are all pushed to a different currency than GP due to bans, gambling would have almost no effect on the game at all. For the first time in a long time, it seems like Jagex is really affecting cheaters' behavior by going after buyers of gold. Well, that was a long rant. Let me know your opinion in the comments below and leave a like on the video. See you soon.